Hey guys, welcome back to the Prep and Preacher. I'm glad you're here. Man, I tell you what, it's been a wild Thursday. We're seeing all this stuff coming down from the Biden administration talking about infringing or impinging, as he said, on our Second Amendment rights. If you want to know what's going on today, stick around. I'll try to cover it. Hey guys, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome back. For you that have been with me, y'all new. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell down there so that you'll get new updates when we make these out. We're trying to get our voice out. Guys, we are strong, stout, Second Amendment. We're going to stand on it because, folks, without the Second Amendment, we're going to lose all the others. And first one will be coming up, and that is detrimental to me because I love to preach the gospel, and that's that freedom of religion, freedom of speech. But that Second Amendment was put in there for a reason. So I'm glad you're here. I apologize for the computer. Everything's happening fast and furious. This is Thursday, April 8th, and Biden's come out with his stuff. And so I'm trying to stay on top of it. I'm going to give you a little commentary. I'm not going to make you sit through cackling Harris or a lot of Joe's rambling. Boy, he can ramble, can he? He's worse than an old Baptist preacher. But I'm not going to make you do it, but I'll give some commentaries on it. So thank you for joining us. Like I said, hit the subscribe button. Glad you're here.
Nothing I'm about to recommend in any way impinges on the Second Amendment.
Now, he just said nothing he's about to say is going to impinge or infringe upon a Second Amendment. That's a lie. Listen up.
They're phony arguments suggesting that these are Second Amendment rights at stake from what we're talking about. But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute.
Did you hear that? No amendment to the Constitution is absolute. Really, Joe? So they're all relative? That what may be freedom of speech to you is freedom of speech to me. What may be freedom of religion to you is freedom of religion to me. Come on, Joe. There's got to be some absolutes there. The Second Amendment shall not be infringed upon. That's pretty absolute English in my opinion there, Joe.
From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons.
So certain people weren't allowed to have weapons back in the Revolutionary War. Well, that's true. In 1774, Parliament passed a law and were taking away the guns and the powder from the people that were living here. Why? Because they were afraid that there was going to be a revolution because they were enforcing laws that were unfair. The tyrannic government of England was effectively putting these laws against us. And so 1774, they tried to do it. But Joe, there wasn't a Firearms Act until the 1930s with the first NFA. You need to get somebody to check your facts.
Every day in this country, 316 people are shot every single day. 106 of them die every day.
Old Joe here is trying to grandstand, and he's throwing numbers out there, and he's thinking nobody's going to check him. Well, guys, 2019, there was 13,526 murders. That included all the murders that used a pistol, all the way down to using your hands and your feet. Suicides, even considered murder on that. There was 13,526. Now, if there's 106 dying each day, that means there's 3 times 365 days. That means there's 38,700, 690 to be exact, dying. He's lying again. He's bumping up the numbers. The numbers don't mean anything. If you don't believe me, look at the big bills that they're trying to pass now with the trillions. But they're bumping up the numbers, trying to scare people, trying to take our guns.
First, want to rein in the proliferation of so-called ghost guns.
So the first thing he wants to do is rein in all the ghost guns. Folks, we've talked about the ghost guns. All they are hobby guns. We have been allowed since this country was conceived to make our own weapons. And that's all a ghost gun is. Now, he says a little later in there, and I may catch it here, that it only takes 30 minutes to build you one out of this kit. and it's like you get everything with it to make this thing. Well, number one, you got to know how to lathe that thing. You got to know how to drill that thing. You've got to know exactly what you're doing. Plus, you got to have all the other parts to go with it, and you got to know how them are put together. Now, true, there's some YouTube videos out there, but it takes a little longer than 30 minutes. If you put it together in 30 minutes, I don't want you beside me on the range shooting that thing.
See these kits treated as firearms under the Gun Control Act, which is going to require that the seller and manufacturers make the key parts with serial numbers.
Treat it like a firearm and serialize everything. Well, let me explain something that you may not know. The laws are already stated that if you sell a weapon without a serial number on it to somebody else, well, you've committed a felony. Okay, these are for personal use. Yes, I have some. I like to build weapons. I've always have since the United States Army. I still build them. But what I'm trying to say is he's trying to serial number. He's trying to make it more difficult for us to get a weapon. Why? That's the question. What's the end game? Always ask, what's the end game?
And run background checks on the buyers when they walk in to buy that package.
Run background checks. See, we're getting down to what they're trying to do, the end game here. They want registration of the weapon so they know where they can go and what they can get from you so that they can confiscate them. That's the first step for communism, for socialism. That's the first thing Hitler did. That's the first thing any of these people do. They want to take the control from you. Okay? That's what Britain did in 1774, and you see how that worked out for them.
The second action we're going to take, back in the year 2000, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms released a report on its investigations of firearms trafficking in America.
Oh, the Burl. I sound like Sleepy Joe got into some of Nancy's whiskey, didn't it? The Burl of, but it was doing a study. Okay, what that means? More billions of dollars to study to understand that it's not the gun's fault. It's not the gun's problem. I mean, Cain and Abel, they didn't have a gun. And there was only 4 people on the earth and one killed the other. Why? Because people are evil. It's a good and evil thing, guys. But there are guns to protect ourselves with, and that's what they're trying to take. There are guns that we can use for a tyrannical government. That's what they're trying to take from us.
The third change, we want to treat pistols modified with stabilizing braces with the seriousness they deserve. A stabilizing brace hook on a pencil essentially makes that pistol a hell of a lot more accurate and a mini rifle. As a result, it's more lethal.
Okay, so they want to get rid of the stabilizing brace that we put on our rifles. I got a question. What are you going to do about our disabled vets that come in that can't hold that pistol and they want to use it? That's just one question I got. But it's not about the brace. It's not about the rifle. We don't know of any crimes. They're saying the guy out in Colorado, but we haven't seen a picture of the weapon yet of what they're using. And even if I saw a picture, maybe I am a conspiracy nut. I won't believe a dadgum thing that I see when they put it up there to begin with. But they're worried, and he says it makes them more lethal. No, it doesn't. The bullet hadn't changed. It's still going to put the same size hole into something that you shoot it with.
Fourthly, during my campaign for president, I wanted to make it easier for states to adopt extreme risk protection order laws. They're also called red flag laws, which everybody in this lawn knows, but many people listening do not know. These laws allow a police or family member to petition a court in their jurisdiction and say, I want you to temporarily remove from the following people any firearm they may possess.
Okay, extreme risk protection order. Real fancy way of saying red flag. Other words, that if you feel somebody is dangerous that has a weapon, you can go to the judge and tell him that he's detrimental to himself or to others. And the judge will issue an order where they can go in Gestapo style and take the weapons. It's already been going on in a lot of states. I think there's 19 states that have that law. It's nuts. He's trying to make it federal. All right. Okay. I just want to ask this. I don't have one, but maybe some of y'all do. An ex-wife. Does she think you're crazy? Some of y'all, she's going to say, yeah, I know. I'm doing marriage counseling as a pastor. I know what some of these women say. I know what some of these men say. I ain't blaming the women. Bad preacher. But what I'm saying is, all it takes is one disgruntled. You got somebody in your family that doesn't like you. All it takes is them going to the judge and saying, yes, he's a danger. And then they're going to roll in because that judge most probably been put in by George Soros, and they're going to roll in and try to take your weapons.
Finally, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the key agency enforcing gun laws, hasn't had a permanent director since 2015. Today, I'm proud to nominate David Chipman to serve as the director of the AFT. David knows the AFT well. He served there for 25 years.
All right, Chipman. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy. He was in the ATF for 25 years. He was down there with Waco. Matter of fact, they got him on tape talking about Waco and blaming them after they rolled in there one of the biggest disgraces of any government that we've ever seen. I don't agree with the Davidian, those Branch Davidians. I didn't agree with David Koresh, but the way that took place, and now he's saying that they shot down helicopters. There was no helicopter shot down. This guy's been with them under Janet Reno and all them guys, probably there at Ruby Ridge. And he's sitting there. He made fun of people that during the pandemic went out and bought weapons, talking about they were doing for zombie apocalypse and stuff, and they need to just go ahead and put that gun, secure it behind their beef jerky. He's a punk, man. He's a punk. He's one of them ones you'd have to run down and whoop them because they wouldn't stand still for a butt whooping. And he's one of the worst anti-gun people you've ever seen in your life. As a matter of fact, he worked for Gabby Gifford's, whatever, her unit there, her nonprofit for against guns for the up until from 2016 till about now, if I'm not mistaken. And matter of fact, he's deleted over 1,000 of his tweets. He tried to hide it, but somebody nailed him on it. He's got some major tweets that are totally against guns. He said AR-15 should be banned. The number one sporting rifle in America should be banned like machine guns. He's a nut, like I said.
I believe the Senate should immediately pass 3 House-passed bills to close loopholes that allow gun purchasers to bypass the background checks. The vast majority of the American people, including gun owners, believe there should be background checks before you purchase a gun. As was noted earlier, hundreds of thousands of people have been denied guns because of the background checks. What more would have happened?
Hundreds of thousands of people have been denied buying and purchasing a weapon, and it stopped all kinds of crime. Where is he getting those numbers? Where does he get those numbers? And as far as background checks, what about Hunter? What about his? I can't believe he said that. What about Hunter? Okay, Hunter lied on his 4473. There's proof of it. They've got a copy of it. He lied. He is a drug addict, and it specifically asked, "Are you using, or are you an addict?" And he lied on that. So Joe, man, start at home. Judgment starts at home, brother.
These bills, one, require background checks for anyone purchasing a gun at a gun show or an online sale. Most people don't know it. You walk into a store and you buy a gun, you have a background check. But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check.
Liar, liar. Man, I tell you, he wouldn't know the truth if it bit him in the butt. I'm telling you that now. You can, okay, online sales. You can't buy a registered weapon online. You buy it, but it has to go to a federal firearms license dealer. And then you go and you pay them and pick it up, okay? But it goes to them. They do the background check there. Gun shows, well, individuals can sell guns back and forth. That's our right. But as far as going to a dealer at a gun show, it's not going to happen. They're going to do a background check on you. Individuals can buy guns back and forth. It's been going on since our country began. But you can't go to a dealer. So he's trying to fool people right here. He's lying again. Lying Joe.
Now, I know this has been a hobby horse of mine for a long time. Got it done once. We should also ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country. There's no reason someone needs a weapon of war with 100 rounds, 100 bullets that can be fired from that weapon. Nobody needs that. Nobody needs that.
100 rounds. Well, if you listen to his boy Chipman Chipman said you can't have over 10. So who's gonna say how many is enough or not enough? If you want a 100 round drum magazine, then get you a 100 drum Beta Mag. If you want a 30 round, get you one. Uh, the problem is, and you're not seeing these being used in crimes, guys. It's not in the crime in any of the crime statistics that you see it being used. So again, it's scaring people. Well, nobody needs 100 rounds. Well, maybe somebody's a bad shot and they need 100 rounds, but it's not up to you, King Joe, to dictate to us what we should and shouldn't have. You are an elected official. You are not a king. This is not a monarchy, buddy. It's a republic. Don't you forget it.
And we should also eliminate gun manufacturers from the immunity they receive from the Congress. You realize, again, the people here, because they're so knowledgeable on here in the Rose Garden, but what most people don't realize, the only industry in America, a billion-dollar industry, that can't be sued, has exempt from being sued.
Okay, got another lie here. What he's saying is that gun companies can't be sued. That's a lie. Gun companies are sued all the time. What he's trying to talk about is the liability for the gun manufacturers against when people use a weapon in a wrong fashion, when they murder somebody. Okay, prime example: Glock 45, Vortex venom sitting up on top of it, federal bullets inside of it. Okay, if I take this weapon and I take somebody out, okay, they're saying that you should be, whoever I took out, their family should be able to sue Glock because I used the Glock, Vortex because I used their sight, Federal because I used their bullets, and sue them. Well, guys, that's ridiculous. It wasn't the rock's fault when Cain killed Abel, okay? It's not the gun's fault that some nut takes it and does something illegal with it. The criminal's the problem, not the gun or not the gun manufacturers. If that's true, if they want to open it up, well, then we ought to be able to sue Ford and GM and Chrysler for all the drunk drivers that have taken people out. I guarantee you there's been more people killed by drunk drivers in the last year than there have been by guns. But no, they're not. The companies aren't sued because somebody used it in a wrong fashion, and they shouldn't be sued for it. That's just another stump speech he's making. Joe, you got to quit lying, brother.
Everything that's being proposed today is totally consistent with the Second Amendment.
Totally consistent with the Second Amendment. I don't know what Second Amendment he's reading about, but it may be the one he's trying to write. They are not consistent. Every one of them is an infringement upon our rights to have a weapon. He's trying to rewrite our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Guys, don't let him do it. Okay, guys, I've settled down a little bit. Here's the facts. In 2019, according to the FBI records, 6,400 roughly murders were committed by handguns. Rifles, 364. Knives were 1,476. It would be a 5 times more chance of you getting killed with somebody with a knife than it would be with a gun, with a rifle, that is. Yeah, we have a crime problem. We don't have a gun problem. And something really interesting about those numbers, when I started looking at it, in 2019, I got my list here, roughly 13,526 murders is what the FBI calls out. Now, that's everything, again, from handguns all the way down to using your hands as weapons and killing somebody. Of those 526, 1,100 of them, 1,100 of those murders were committed in 3 cities: Chicago, Detroit, and New York. Guys, those are the ones. As a matter of fact, in Chicago, there was only 4 committed, if I'm not mistaken on my statistics, 4 committed with a rifle. So out of 13,000, I keep saying 100, I apologize. I'm upset about this and Biden, what he's doing. Out of 13,500 murders, 1,100 of them were committed in 3 towns that have the worst record for guns that you've ever seen. They've got the most stringent gun control laws on the books, and yet 1,100 of them. Folks, I'm here to tell you, it's not about controlling guns. It's about controlling you. That's what they're trying to do. That's their end game, to control you. The problem is not guns. The problem is criminals. They're letting criminals out. They're letting murderers out without serving any time. And yet they want to lock us up. They want to make us felons because we have a brace on our AR pistol, or because we like to manufacture our own weapons with these 80% kits. They want to make us felons. Guys, up is down, down is up, and white is black, and black is white. Everything is messed up. We have got to stay diligent. We have got to stay on top of them. And guys, when they start trying to, and they're trying to reassign, that's what he's doing. If you'll notice in all of this, he never signed an executive order. Now, you know, Joe likes signing him executive order. They just kept passing them to him on that first day. But he can't. He knows that. Trump just had one of his overturned on the bump stock. Whole nother video there. But he knows that executive order, he's stepped over his bounds, because he is not there to legislate. He is there to enforce the laws that are on the books. What he's doing is giving strong words to the Justice Department and to the BATF or the AFT, as he calls it, or borough when you're drunk. But he's given them instructions to try to reclassify some of the stuff that's already been classified as cool. That was supposed to be good with the BATF, like the pistol brace, like the 80% weapons. So just because he reclassifies it doesn't make it so. I mean, I could say I'm going to reclassify my pickup as an airplane. That don't mean that they're going to let me on the at the airport and get it on the tarmac and try to take off. Just because you say you reclassify it, we gotta stand our ground, make our comments known to all our officials that this is not going to happen. We're not going to allow this, because it's about controlling you. If it was about stopping the crime, maybe they'd keep some of them criminals in prison, or maybe they'd execute some of them nasty ones. But they ain't about that. Y'all, I love you, and I want the best for you. And until I see you again, may God richly bless you. And will you continue to stay in the gap? It's the Prepping Preacher. I'm out of here.